So perspective is tremendous, tremendously important.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand first that the Ottoman Empire goes in, they take the land from the people who are already there, right? Then it was mostly Muslim and Christian, very, very, very few Jewish people. Then you had World War One, and because of persecution of the Jews in Europe, they came over. Now, if you have a map or a globe, then it lets you see how close Europe is to Africa, right? So it helps to understand that, how close they were, and it just made sense that that's where they went to. Then after the Holocaust, there was a big, influx of Jewish people to that area.
So you're talking about World War II?
Yeah.
World War II, okay.
But yeah, talking about first about World War One, very, very few, and then World War II, big influx, right? So on top of this, during the time, you started having this nationalism, and people were going from, Ottoman Turks to being known as Palestinians, right? So this is where you have the nationalism coming from. Now you have a lot of, Jewish people in this area. And like you normally have when you have people from different backgrounds, for whatever reason, starts being infighting. At some point, though, the UN gets involved to try to carve out a peace for Israel or for the Jewish population. That area became Israel. After that happened, then they're still fighting. There's a war. As a result of the war, then Israel takes over or the Israelis take over that whole territory. Even a little piece of Egypt, a little piece of Syria, and if I'm not mistaken, a little piece of Jordan as well. Right. Then you have this little space where, like the West Bank, Gaza, where you had the Palestinian concentration. At some point, because of, just religious freedom, because of it was cheap land, you had Israelis start to go into those areas that was, like the Palestinian stronghold. The Palestinians didn't have their own state, so they were under Israeli rule. Now imagine that. You know how they say, the saying ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun?
Right.
So imagine you being the minority, and then you you being the majority fighting against the minority, and then at some point it switches, right? So now the Israelis are in their territory, fighting is still happening, still going on. And you have peace treaties, or then you have attempts at peace, but then you still have fighting. And I can't remember his name, but there was an Israeli prime minister who was working on the peace treaty. And then you had, somebody who was against that because they wanted to keep fighting with the Palestinians. And that president was assassinated. So that kicks the fighting back up. So, like you said, that's what we have today.